What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the GSN Sports Network podcast. I'm your host, John J. II, here with Sobo, the one and only Sobo, here to join us again to talk about Masters Week. It's one of the best weeks of the year for golf fans, for anybody that's, that would call themselves an enthusiast of the sport of golf. Sobo, what do you got to say? Are you excited for Masters Week?
I am. Just like you said, John, all the years that I've known you, it's 6:38 prior to opening round, opening hits, and everything else tomorrow morning. It started all week with, we were talking a little bit earlier about the par 3 contest, practice rounds, and everything the one thing that I think we should be mindful of is what they have done down there between the women's am and one thing that we don't talk enough about, and that's the youth of the game, and that's the drive, chip, and putt contest with all the kids across the country that's aired on Sunday morning. I didn't get to see it. We were driving back from Florida, and I got to watch some of the replay on Monday night or late Sunday night or whatever it was, but Augusta is Augusta, and, I shared with you guys a couple of years ago, I was down there in 1999 for a practice round that I'll probably never forget. I'd like to get back there. It's just an all-around great week of golf, and anybody who is an enthusiast, I like that word that you used. If you're a purist enthusiast, this is it. This is like the Kentucky Derby of horse racing or the Daytona 500 of auto racing. This is the big one for golf, and we'll all be glued to our TV sets or streaming or whatever the case may be on your phones. I think the productivity, if you're a golfer and you're working Thursday or Friday, in all good sense, thank God, Friday is Good Friday, because I know a lot of folks have the day off, so they'll be able to watch. And the weather here in Michigan is supposed to be so there'll be a lot of people probably playing a little golf and then try and get in and watch the second round or the cut round. So, it's a great 4 days, and it's going to be interesting to see how everything shakes out with the live guys playing and against the per se PGA Tour. And I think there's been a lot of mockery and a lot of talk about that online and through the Golf Channel and everything else. And coincidentally enough, like I just shared, I was down in Florida all last week, and the live was at a place that I wanted to play with my older son. And I heard the crowds were good, and people were down there participating. And a friend of mine from Owasso lives down there now, and he said he went on Saturday and it was pretty cool. So we had the discussion about the live. It is what it is for me. I'm not in or out. I really have no desire. I'm pretty much out of the loop of what they've done, who they are. I know there's been a lot of talk over the last 4 or 5 days since Augusta, when they played Orange County, and I tried to get on there, but we ended up playing this place. So if any of your guys that are watching are ever down in Orlando, go out and check out Champions Gate. It's coincidentally enough a Greg Norman track. The director of golf I met a couple of months ago in an outing down there, and it's a great golf course and what have you, but Champions Gate. And then we played around over at Disney, and it's just great to be out there, and then it kind of made the whole deal even better knowing Augusta was coming Monday morning. So it'll be interesting.
Wow, good for you, man. That's cool. You got to get out and play some golf here kind of early in the season. And what I always tell people is it's a great way to segue into the Masters, having just finished up with March Madness. Obviously, tough run for our Spartans, losing to Kansas State and whatnot. Talked about that a little bit on the GCP last night, and it's just really it was a good run for him. It was a good run for him, and I think Tom Izzo has a lot to be proud of, to hold his head up high. But yeah, you mentioned the track, you mentioned the live golf clash again. We saw this with the players here not too long ago. So it's always going to be a little bit dicey. Obviously, you have the par 3 contest today. Tom Hoagie gets an ace, Seamus Power gets a couple, Bubba gets one, and it's just a great event to kind of kick off the Masters, a way to clear the head and to set the tone, basically. So have some fun before everything's going to get all tense, and obviously it's another major to go after. So that's what all these guys are going to be focused on, and the best man will win. The course is looking good. I mean, they must have a hell of a, superintendent or ground staff over there, and I'm sure they do, and I know they do. But they basically beat the hell out of this course in the par 3 contest. I mean, they're smoking those greens with, high flying balls, and I know they're meant to take that, but those greens are taking some heat.
Oh, there's no question, but it's funny because I'm looking through some pictures here because I wanted to bring this up to you. I saw this online, and you're gonna appreciate this just based on what you're talking about. So the following represents the height and cut of the grass on the golf course. Did you happen to see this?
No, I didn't see that. Where's
All
that
right,
at?
so the tees are going to be cut 5/16. The fairway's 3/8. Second cut an inch and 3/8. The collar of the greens is a 1/4 inch. The green surrounds are about 5/16, and the greens are 1/8. So you got to believe the greens are going to be rolling. Depending on how much rain they get, it's probably going to be rolling around a 13.
Yeah.
And on a stimp meter, that just means they're lightning quick. And I don't think with what we were talking about, or you were talking about earlier, and it was something that I brought up at the Players Championship, was the weather. The weather's going to have a big effect down there this week, from what I'm hearing and seeing. So, you're not going to get as much roll. They're probably going to go right at the hole. If you get a 1/2 inch of rain or a 1/4 inch of rain overnight or something, that means it's going to be soft in the morning. Anybody who's in the morning wave on Thursday or Friday is probably going to have the upper hand, and we talked a little bit about that at the Players. So is it going to be soupy and sloppy? Probably not. The place drains very well. I told you guys a couple of years ago when I was down there, like my flag represents and the hat I'm wearing in 1999, it does not do it any justice for any of those folks that are watching you today. The biggest thing that I tell people is, when you're watching them tee off on number 10, just be aware that hill, down the hill and up the hill that they walk, is unfrickin' believable, and it's steep and it's high. So the hills and the undulations just do not do it justice on television. And if you ever have the opportunity to apply for the tickets, which I still do every year for the last 20, and have yet to get back, you should apply and try and get those tickets. And if you don't, it's almost worth jumping in your car, driving down on a Tuesday to get to the Wednesday practice round, or drive down Monday to get to the Tuesday practice round and turn around and drive back. That's how good it is. And those cuts that I just shared with you, and the undulations and the things that I'm sharing with you that I saw online, is that was a press release. So we see on TV how tight and right it is, but until you physically go there, it's immaculate. I mean, it's by far the most beautiful place on earth. And if you're a golfer, obviously from a club standpoint, if you're a golfer, it's one of the most beautiful places in the world, and we know that. So we'll just have to see how things shake out weather-wise, and there are probably going to be a couple guys in there that are mutters. For the Players, I told you guys, and I don't know if anybody paid much attention, but I sent you the notes from the Players, and I don't know if you can pull up the results from the Players, but my list had Hatton, Chef, Scotty, Homa, JT, and the guy obviously that kind of crashed and burned for us was the Canadian friend across the border. Corey Connors didn't fare very well, but everybody else I saw and liked, seemed to do well. It'll be interesting, this week with the big three. I think that's a topic of interest for everybody out there. You got Rory, you got Scotty, who's number one, and you got Ron. And those three guys, I think that the table is set for a heck of a finish on Sunday. if all goes as planned for those guys. And then you can't leave out the rest. You got Spieth, you got Thomas, you got Zalatoris. There's a little chatter on Zalatoris, and Morikawa's an iron player. And I think, what you'll see this week is a perfect table set for a wonderful Saturday, Sunday, and even a Thursday, Friday leading into it.
Yeah, you mentioned the weather, and usually, and maybe not usually, it's always different, but sometimes you get a spring where you kind of get the rain a little bit late, and Augusta is known for those undulations and those, that different terrain where it can be easily firm and fast, and even if it gets some rain, like we've been getting up here, it's a possibility that throughout those later tee times, the 1 o'clocks, 2 o'clocks, those could really be playing in completely different conditions than they are in the morning. We knew that was the case for the players, but regardless of how much rain they get, it could play somewhat firm and fast. Maybe not as much as it would if we get a late rain session like we have in years past. But there is going to be weather that comes into play, and that is going to affect those different tee times, whether you're playing in the morning or playing later in the afternoon. So there's a lot of things to consider there, but either way, I mean, from what I've heard, I've never had the pleasure of being on the hallowed grounds of Augusta National, but from what I've heard, from what you've told me, from being there, it's a sight to behold, and it's quite a place to visit. So,
well, and
I've heard great things.
One thing you spoke to right a second ago is, and we got to be really, like you're talking about the weather down there. I actually read something before I texted you earlier. Some are saying that might be a Monday finish if the weather's that bad. And that's something that you got to keep in play is if they get smoked with rain on Saturday and they can't get all the rounds in, or Friday, and the cut's not decided until Saturday at 12 o'clock, all those tee times are going to be pushed back for everybody, because they're going to have to put a 2-hour, break in there, an hour or 45 minutes or whatever. Well, if the second round doesn't finish till 1 o'clock on Saturday, there's no way they're going to get the third round in by dark on Saturday. So then they're going to go back out Sunday. They're going to finish that round, and if they get more rain, which we've seen down in Jacksonville at the Players Championship over the years, to what you're talking about, you might have a Monday finish. And if that's the case, it plays with everybody mentally. And I caught something on Jordan Spieth the other night on the Golf Channel. He was talking about, somebody asked him, he said, well, wonder if you're in the mix, wonder if you're one of the last two tee times. What do you guys do from Saturday 7 o'clock till Sunday at 2:30 when they tee off? He's like, it's hard. With this thing right here today, these guys all have phones just like we do. It's hard not to hit social media, or it's hard not to sit there and put the news on, or sport, or ESPN, or the Golf Channel to see what's going on. And he just made the comment, I'll do whatever I can to hang out with my family, maybe watch 1 or 2 movies and move on and try and stay grounded. So that part of it is what's really interesting in the game of golf. And I think everybody forgets that, mentally they've got to be as prepared as a Justin Verlander or, Reggie Jackson back in the 70s when he was banging home runs. These guys are athletes, and we talked a little bit about that last month. So weather's going to have a lot to do with it. We'll see how it plays out tomorrow, and the next day. What I would say is, off the, the picks that we made last time, like I told you, I got hit with 2 or 3 different golf pools, and we're gonna play with the big dogs. I think I really like Rory, and the reason I like Rory is he's due for that final part of the Grand Slam. You and I have swapped some texts over the last couple days about Scotty Scheffler. I mean, this kid is just a machine, and anybody not to pick him in a pool this week is crazy. I tried to find some stats and some different things, but I couldn't find anything. When was the last time somebody won the Players and the Masters back-to-back 2 straight years? And I don't know. I'm still wondering if that's even possible or if it's ever even happened. So, that's a big deal for him. So you got Rory on that. You got Scotty trying to make history again, and cool as a cucumber. Love John Rahm again. We didn't pick him. Matter of fact, John, we didn't even talk about him. Remember, I texted you after.
That's right. And it was for good reason too, because he came down with a stomach bug,
Yeah,
and
he
wasn't.
indeed, exactly.
He wasn't in the conversation. It's like we had that inkling. We knew he
Well,
wasn't going to be in the conversation.
I happened to look at something after we talked, and
Okay.
Rahm's going to be somebody to play with. He's going to want a little redemption from the players, so I think he's coming to play. And I listened to a little Golf Channel last night, and everybody thinks he's going to come to play as well. They all do, but so you got 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth guy. I just last night we had an inkling. I was back and forth with this friend of mine, and he and I are in this one pool, and we were back and forth on a couple of players, and we ended up going with Spieth. So
Really?
those are the four guys that I really like. Spieth's kind of like that dog that his game's coming around. I think he's due. I think he's gonna show up. Now, does he win? I don't know. Top 10 would be nice. I think top 5. They all want to win, and if you look down the list like we did last time, I think you pulled up the top 20 earnings leaders or whatever, and so a couple quiet guys I like is this Tom Kim. He's kind of come out of the middle of nowhere. I saw a couple articles on him. He's a very interesting young guy, young kid, and he doesn't have anything to lose. Think about it. He's 20. I think he's 23, maybe 24, or whatever he is, and he's going down to Augusta, and he's loose as a goose. So for him to go out and shoot 67, 68 might not be out of the question. And then he puts himself in the mix, and he's gets a little talk and feels good going in on Friday. So I kind of like him as a long shot. Matsuyama's another one. He's always played well there. Can't forget JT.
I love JT.
So
he's a good guy.
Up. He hasn't won in a little while, so this might be that fire that he needs a spark with. Another young guy that I like this Tom Kim. I like this Sam Burns, and I think he was on my list for the Players Championship, and I think he finished top 15.
Yeah.
So he's another young guy that's up and coming, and then I heard Zalatoris is here and there everywhere. I liked him 2 days ago. I don't like him so much. He was on that list. I would pull him, but and then the only other couple of guys I do kind of like to see up on top, probably top 20s, are Justin Rose and maybe Ricky Fowler. Ricky Fowler, you and I talked about the last time, and he's coming around, coming back, and what better place to get another good finish. And he seems to be playing well, but for the most part, I think Tommy Fleetwood's another one I just saw this afternoon or last night. He always plays well down there. I don't know what it is. I know I think we had him last year, and I think he's a top 15. He's always in the hunt. And I really, other than Rahm and Justin Rose and Kim and Matsuyama, those are really the only guys outside of the U.S. that I think, in Fleetwood are really it. But what do I know? I don't know. I just gave you Scheffler the last time, so.
Well, it's so tough, man. Talking about golf, I talk about with my buddies betting the game of golf, and especially in majors, you're going to be having people talk about it. Comparing past finishes, and usually when I'm betting golf, I like to look at the day before. So I usually look at a Saturday. Where are they finishing at on Saturday? How do they rank up going into Sunday? And obviously that's not a foolproof method. But if I see a guy that's 4, 5, 6 strokes down going into Sunday, I know that if that guy that's in first or second is a relatively young guy, I got to ask myself, does he have the mental capacity to hold on to that lead going into the final round, being up there in the top 2. So there's a lot of different questions that come into it when you're betting golf, and even in doing the pools and things like that. You gotta really shoot from the hip.
It's all luck,
Yeah.
but you gotta follow. You gotta follow it like anything else.
Yeah.
I love the game, so it makes no difference to me one way or another. And I think what happens is we get bogged down, and I think it's a great. I just think it's good theater. The Masters is good theater. It'll be fun, and it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Especially with Liv. I don't know if you saw the thing that Norman posted or talked about on social media or not, but he said, if one of the Liv guys wins, we're going to have a celebration, and all 16 guys are going to be on the 18th hole at Augusta, because that's their whole deal with the whole team concept and everything, and whatever. There's just something about it I don't like, and I haven't since day one, and I don't really want to go down that bunny trail again. We talked pretty blue till we were blue in the face the last time. I just want, enjoy the event, enjoy the tournament, have a great time watching it. It's all day now, and the broadcast, I think, starts at like 9 a.m. on ESPN or whatever, both days. And, come Sunday afternoon, Easter Sunday, we're going to see how it plays out. And just as a little tidbit, one of the reasons we picked Jordan Spieth was, for those who are superstitious, which I am, the last 2 Easters, guess who won the Masters?
Probably Spieth.
Yep.
Well, I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious. So and we all remember that one year where Jordan Spieth, choked going into the final few holes, and we don't have to rewrite history there. But that was unfortunate. I mean, that was a loss, I guess you can call it a loss for him, that I'm sure he's learned from, and I'm sure that he will grow from. But you look at him, and I feel like it might work to these guys' detriment, but guys like Rory, guys like JT, and they're not even 30 years old yet, but they're thinking, oh man, I'm getting close to 30. I gotta rack up a couple more majors here, and they hold themselves to that. And then we even see guys like Ricky, that might be a little bit older than Jordan and JT, and he's kind of saying, oh, I got to get on the horse here if I want to remain relevant. Whereas you have a guy like Tom Kim or Sam Burns, a young guy, they're playing wide-eyed, bushy-tailed, and they're not really worried about that, and they're playing very loose. They're playing clean golf,
and that's why I like those 2 guys. I do. I just think that I just think they're loose as a goose. They got nothing to lose. The other guy I would throw in there too, I meant to mention, was Xander Schauffele. I think he might have a good tournament. So we'll just see how it plays out, and I'm excited. And I know you are. You love the theatrics and all that other stuff. And like you said in the top is, we're coming off a frickin', what a great week of sports, gang. I mean, I shared that with you a couple of years ago. This is if you're a sports fan, I think I told you guys that at the Players Championship. That was the beginning. You were going into the Big Ten. You had the Players Championship. Then you roll into the NCAA's, and then you got opening day baseball down at Comerica Park tomorrow, the Red Sox, 1 o'clock. You got opening day there. You got the hockey playoffs coming. You got the NBA playoffs coming, and then you got Augusta. I mean, if you can't find a sport you don't like on TV over the next 6 days, you better pack a lunch.
You better pack a lunch. That's right. Oh man, that's a good way. Good way to leave the people with, because you're right. And I mean, and we have times like this throughout the season where I call it a sports eclipse. Where you have multiple sporting events going on and they're converging with each other. And this is one of those times. This might not be the most grand time, but I think it's up there in top 2, top 3 times of the year where you just have a lot going on. It's like the Wild West. You have a lot going on. And it's a beautiful time to take pride in whatever sport you like. If you take pride in more than one or all of them, then that's all the better. So it's just a great time to be a sports fan, a sports guy, sports gal, whatever you are. And it's just a lot of fun. So it's a lot to keep track of. It's a lot to follow, but it keeps us on our toes, and I think we like all that.
Yeah, for sure. And again, we'll see what happens. And I don't know if any of your friends out there, or viewers, saw. Augusta got so smart. I don't know if you saw it either online, but you could order that box from Augusta with the pimento cheese sandwiches and the drinks and all that stuff for like $75, and it's the same
Really?
stuff that they serve down there.
Really, you can get it like I
Yeah,
could buy it here.
I'll send you a picture of it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, the jury's
So,
still out on this. Are they still charging the regular prices at Augusta for
as far as I
concessions?
know, I did see something on I think Facebook. Another guy that I know down there, he's in TV. He was down there, and his comment was, "Yep, the average money spent right here on my head and there at the gift tent, the big gift tent that everybody goes to is like $800."
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, this stuff that I got is 23 years old. I mean, that's This is 1999 when I was there, so you're 24 years old.
Yeah.
Prices go up, but they've kept everything pretty sustainable down there because they got.
Yeah. It seems like they pride themselves on that, keeping the tradition true to the time when the tournament originated. And it's just a great event. I guess let me ask you this, Sobo: is there a bigger event, a bigger major out there? You got the U.S. Open, you got the British,
No.
and you got is there a bigger tournament in the sport of golf than the Masters?
Not in my opinion. But again, I might differ from the next guy. So in my opinion, no. And my opinion is you might be a stranger on the street, might say the U.S. Open for some reason. And, I've always respected everybody's opinions one way or another, no matter where you sit. I could probably tell you that if you were to drive up the lot at St. Andrews or Muirfield over in Europe, what do you think they're going to tell you?
They'll probably think that theirs is the best.
Well, rightfully so.
Yeah, it's a birthplace.
That's where the game of golf started.
That's right.
So, for me, I pretty much say it's Masters, U.S. Open, or British. I'm a little, to my point just a second ago, British Open's where it started. And that's why for those guys on the European side to win the Claret Jug, that's why it means to us or our U.S. players to win the U.S. Open.
Right.
But the Masters is that one where, they really intertwine because maybe a 60th player, 80th player in the world doesn't qualify for our U.S. Open, because they have all those Monday qualifiers leading up to it. So there's a lot of different things in that. And, maybe when we get down that path over to the U.S. Open or the PGA, we'll do it again. And, in the meantime, enjoy the tournament. And it's always good. I appreciate you reaching out.
Of course. Thanks again, Sobo. We'll leave you guys with that. Make sure to sign up for the Gin Sports Network Challenge 4. The registration link is open for everybody. It's in the link of this podcast in our link tree. I mentioned it last night in the GCP as well. You can find it anywhere on our website, GinPro's website or the GSN website. And it's all over social media as well. So get signed up for that. And
Johnny, I got one other question real quick.
Let's hear it.
Before you go.
All right.
I didn't throw this at you.
All right.
Last time.
What do you got? Oh, I think I know what's coming, but I'll let you say it.
You go ahead. Who do you got?
Who do I got winning?
Yeah.
I'm going to pull for Ricky. I really want Ricky to win.
Yeah,
I do.
He's on the list.
He's on the list, and, Ricky is a guy that he played really well in the Dell Technologies match play. He beat Rahm in the match play, and he has the potential to play very well. And I know that he can hone in his skills and do that. He can find that young Ricky that we haven't seen in a long time. He's been more or less in the dark for the good part of 4 or 5 years now. And if we can revive that, I think he has it within him to play really loose, almost like a Sam Burns or a Tom Kim with that young mindset. And just come out and play really good golf and, kind of shut out everything going on, with the live stuff and, things going on with the weather and course conditions and fanfare and things of that nature. If you can kind of shut all that out, granted, everybody has the potential to play well and go out there and play 4 good rounds. But I think I'm pulling for Ricky a little bit more than others just because I want him to see that. I want him to see what it looks like to have a green jacket, and he doesn't have one. So it's I'm pulling for those guys that might not have one yet. And even Rory's in that camp as well. So Rory's up there on my list too.
No, you're good selection. I like it. Cool.
Thanks. Good deal. All right. Well, hey, I want to thank Sobo for popping in here on the GSN pod, talking some golf. Masters Week. It's electric. We're really excited for it. And make sure to check out our website, check out our IG, all of our social media for all posts, updates, and things of that nature. But I'll leave you guys with that. Thank you so much for tuning into the Gin Sports Network podcast. I'm your host, as always, John J. II, here with Sobo. Have a great night.